Who is Randy?
Don't bring anyone mother into this.
Your mom in the fucking stand!
Yeah, I love
You know
it.
what I mean?
You know
Like-
what Tom and I love most is your disdain for humanity.
Oh,
like,
really?
I respect
makes
it.
me laugh a
Oh,
lot.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish, here's what I'm trying to do. Maybe this is what I admire about both of you is your ability to not give a fuck if people like you or not.
Okay.
And
Good.
teach me, both of you.
Okay,
How do
so-
I not give a fuck?
Well, okay, so Whitney asked me that on her podcast.
Really?
Yes, she was
I
like,
love her.
She was like, "How do you?" She's like, "You really seem like things don't get to you," and I was like, "Oh, really?" Because obviously, if you're a person, things get to you no matter what.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, maybe I seem more that I don't give a fuck than I do." And then I was like, I thought about it ever since she asked me, and I was like, I think I definitely give. Like here's.
You have no time for nonsense. So.
I can't suffer fools.
I know.
I just can't. Like these motherfuckers.
I don't know how to do it.
Because here's the thing.
That's why I love
here's a
you
good
guys.
here's a good example. I block anybody. I got a fucking hair trigger finger. It's if you don't know if you don't know me, then how do I know how you mean something?
Yeah.
So you better come correct. And if you don't, then I'll block you. And I'll forget about it. Who are you, first of all?
Yeah.
Second of all, afterwards, who are you?
You're
Well,
the
you
guy,
know me.
You're the guy who somebody messages me, "Hey man, will you ask Delita to unblock me?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Good.
Wow.
By the way, you should block that person. Okay?
I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
You don't know me.
The
You don't
idea,
know
though,
me.
that I'm going to be like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Craig. Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
You know Craig on Instagram? He said
Yeah.
that you should unblock him.
I know. What text
You
is
should
that?
reply to all those guys and say, Chris blocked me.
He
I
blocked
can't.
me. I know.
Yeah.
He blocked me too.
So I block everybody. And now I've learned, because I've blocked so many people, that, like some guy the other day said, somebody tweeted something like, "I need to laugh, so I'm going to watch everything that Chris D'Elia has ever done." And then somebody replied to him and said, "But I thought you said you wanted to laugh." And I wrote, "Bro, are you okay? What's the problem?" Because this guy had a blue check mark, and I was ready. I was ready. I Googled him already. I'm like, here we go. Right? And he wrote, "Oh, it's just a joke, bro." And I'm like, but how the fuck do I know that if I don't know you? If you say it, of course it's a joke.
Right.
I know you. So I didn't block him because I gave him, okay, sure, whatever, fine. Like, the guy was joking. I'm glad, because I was gonna come immediately, but I was like, let me just see what's up, right? So then somebody sent me a link to a thing that was like, another comedian, and I'm not going to mention who it is, but he blocks people. And there was like a chat of, yeah, he blocked me too, and he blocked me and me and me. And like, this guy's a pussy, he's sensitive. And I was like, I wonder if there's shit like this about me. So I Googled, and there is. All right? So
You Googled it.
yeah, I Googled it. So I Googled, and
You
people
are a
are
maniac,
like,
you know
people,
that.
Chris is a pussy because he blocked me because I said this. And by the way, they said shit like, "You're not funny, you fucking bitch." And I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't I block that?
Yeah.
I don't want to see anything negative. Sensitive or not, who gives a fuck? So now there's shit like, yeah, I used to think he was funny, but this shit,
He blocked me.
He says, don't get, this is my favorite, don't get fucking, he says, don't get sensitive over jokes, and he blocked me. And like, you're literally calling me like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And like
abuse.
you work at Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
I'm a comedian. Of course, my shit. Yeah, I make jokes. You know that. Don't
Yeah.
get offended at me if I'm talking about cancel culture. But if you're saying, "Hey, die, you piece of shit," and you work at fucking Kinko's,
Dude, I was
I
fucking around. I
know.
was joking. I was saying boil to death in a pile of shit, and I was saying it as
yeah,
a joke.
exactly.
Well,
like
I
you.
respond. The other day, I posted something about a TikTok, which we'll get into because I know you're an
yeah.
enthusiast
Yeah,
as
yeah,
I
yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah.
And it was like a goth girl thing. And someone DM'd me on Instagram, "No one gives a shit about your goth girl stuff."
Great.
And I wrote back, and I seldom do this.
She
I
said
go,
this to you.
It was a man. And I wrote back to him, and I go, "You know what? Given that we're in the middle of this apocalypse,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a pass
Right.
because I think you're hurting inside. Like,
nice.
just whatever. Like,
So you wrote
I'm
that?
gonna let you go."
Okay.
And he wrote back. He's like, "You're right. I'm sorry."
Oh, what?
And it's like, so then why are you being a jerk? Like, then just why?
Because people, you know why? I think
hate?
people do that
That's crazy
because
talk.
one of the reasons I don't block is because I feel like it validates their desire for the attention.
They want the
and that they
attention.
interpret it like
You're
So
right.
they go like
You're
this,
right.
You're
right?
right.
They
You're
poke,
right.
poke, poke, and then you go blocked, and then they're like, got something out of that guy.
You're right.
Or I've also succumbed to like I
Zing.
don't really comment on the critique when people are like you suck.
Right.
But every once in a while, you know, you have it, and then usually immediately I'm like, I wish I hadn't responded.
I know.
because I don't want to.
It's an interesting thing because I feel a little bit, and I think this is a shortcoming I have. I think that this is a fault of mine. That like when the fact that anybody can reach me,
Yes.
makes me mad.
Yeah.
It makes me mad because when I came up, I didn't have fucking John Travolta's number.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no way in hell me in La Cañada sitting around was going to be able to say anything to John Travolta.
Johnny T.
Anybody.
Yeah, I know.
You
And
know?
he never knew, by the way, how many people thinks he sucks.
I know.
Yeah.
Think
I
about
know.
Harrison Ford. Think about how fucking awesome he was in the 80s. There were people on the couch that were like, fuck this cuck.
This guy sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford didn't know.
Which is great.
Well, and
That's
also,
awesome for him.
And
I
also,
agree.
you know what the problem is this pussy generation with this whole no bullying. No one's ever had their asses beat.
Yeah.
So these motherfuckers don't know that, like, guess what? You could run into Chris D'Elia one day. You don't know if he's a fucking psycho, and he could be like, "Fuck you, Johnny Hammer 157. I remember
know.
you, bitch," and you could hurt him.
I could see Chris with like a full list in his car, just like flipping through it. Like, what's your handle again? And he just gets out of the
He's
car.
like, "I know you."
Are
No,
you blocked?
one
Are
thing-
you blocked?
One thing I love though, you have this. I've seen Joe do this too.
What?
Is that you guys? As soon as somebody is like lingering in an annoying way, like if they're being,
Tom's told me about
I
this, and it makes me.
I don't like it about myself that if someone's like, "Hey man, big fan," I'll be like, "Oh thanks," and then I'll sit down and they're like, "Hey, you remember the episode?" And I'll be like, "What's that?" And they'll start. You said the time. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, thanks, man." And then I'll turn back down. They're like, "Does Christina really like it when you?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"You know,
God,
I
you
don't
deal
know."
with all this?
Yeah, I'll do the whole thing, and like,
And I'm so nice. I will stand there and
and
answer.
I'll be
people.
like, "Yeah, that's great." All right, and then at worst, I'll be like, I'm actually late, and I'll walk.
Okay,
What
wow.
you and Joe, I've seen you both do this.
Yeah.
Is like someone's like we were having coffee, and that guy was like, "I'm a
Oh,
big
yes,
fan of you
yes.
guys," and I was like, we were both like, "Oh, thanks a lot." We both said, "Thanks a lot." He's like, "It's a tough time. You're making us laugh." We were like, "Thank you very much," and then he walked away.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "If you ever want like wrist belts."
Yeah.
Or finger thumb
It was
things.
something.
We were like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he walked away again and came back and was like, here's my card. And I was like, okay. And Chris was like, yeah, thanks a lot. So, and he just completely
I just-
dismissed it. And I was like, oh my God. And
How
I
How
got
do I
jealous.
do that?
I got
Yeah,
jealous.
how do I get
Dude,
there?
I didn't even think that was I thought I was being nice, by the way. That because I'm like, you get two and it's great. And I'm nice. I'm nice for two, but like sometimes
I'm
people,
nice for two.
Dude, there was this one.
Can we make a hat that says I'm nice for two?
Nice for two. I did one where there was this guy. The comedy store is like the worst for that. I was
I
hanging
know.
out
That's
with
another
like,
place I've seen
There's
you do
nowhere
it.
to hide.
I was hanging, and I don't want to go in the bitch bar in the
I
back,
don't
the back
either.
bitch bar where it's like, go, and we're all the
all
comedians are
loud.
like, man, I wish we could be out there, but you can't.
No,
Yeah.
I like it.
So I hang because I'm not gonna. You're not gonna change what the fuck I'm doing. You
Right.
understand?
Yeah. Right.
Just because you want to talk about something.
Yeah.
And so I'm hanging in the back, and I'm with 4 people, 5 people, and like 2 of them I hadn't seen in a long time, and it was awesome to see them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know how you just feel sometimes there's somebody there
Lingering.
Yeah. Like Like, dude, I never want to be this guy, man. Like, my nightmare in the world is to be a certain way that I don't know I am, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, what do you
that's
mean
my
to be
nightmare.
Yes, to be
certain?
unaware of how you're being.
Yeah.
Me
know?
too. I'm convinced that I'm the
that's-
most horrible, annoying person on the
No,
planet.
but because you have that means you're not that person.
Right. Because
But
the
like,
person
know, ask
who
my
really
dog,
is
I know.
doesn't have that awareness
No.
at all.
Oh, okay.
Like where you just want to turn and you want to be like, hey man, you don't know you're being like this, and somebody that loves you should tell you.
Yeah.
But you're a fucking weird, tall, lanky guy just hooking over onto my shoulder.
Yeah.
Just step back a few paces, turn around, and talk to the person in the other direction.
Right.
If you know them, right? But because it's the Comedy Store, and literally, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, like whatever, say what you want about me, but there's comedians there that are fucking like world-class comedians, and I see motherfuckers talk to them, and that's like talking of being at a Cardinals game and talking to Albert Pujols in between, and you're like, dude, let him bat, let him bat, okay? So I'm hanging out at the Comedy Store. I haven't seen fucking 2 or 3 of these guys in a long time. I used to work with them. It was so awesome. And there's a fucking tall, lanky guy hooking over, right? And I feel this, and I turn around, and now he is starting conversation, which is, okay, fine. You want to say 1 or 2 things? Great, thanks. And then it goes off from me, and he's in the conversation now, and he's driving the conversation.
Oh, dear.
Okay? And I haven't seen these people, and the people that I haven't seen are like, do you know this guy? To me, right?
Yeah.
So now I look like I have weird fucking friends, all right?
Yeah.
So I want them to know he's not my friend. I want him to know that he shouldn't be doing this anymore,
Right.
okay? And so he tells a joke, and my other friends laugh, all right? And it's not funny. All right.
They do like a courtesy.
Yes, and I went like this. I said, who are you? And
That's amazing.
And dude, my friends laughed so hard because they thought we were friends.
Right.
And in that moment, they realized, oh, this was just a guy.
This guy just walked up. Yeah.
And I went, who are you? And dude, he fucking went, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And I said, I haven't seen these people in a long time, man. And you're driving this conversation, and I don't know you. And it was just great.
And then he walked away.
Good. Yeah, he walked away.
Yeah.
But here's what I want. I want you to know, and if you're listening, I want you to know this. I genuinely love that guy. I am not I got to get frustrated. I got to get angry. I got to let it out.
Yeah.
Because I love that guy. Because I love people. It's not, sometimes people get the wrong idea and you're like, you're a fucking dick and this and that. Dude, we're all in this together.
Yes.
And I've been a guy like that in a way, probably.
Of course.
And I love that guy. And because that guy's doing that, it's funny to me. I don't hate that guy.
Right.
But I got to come out and I got to fucking do that.
You can't let it just simmer.
Then I'm going to get cancer. In fucking 9 years, that shit's going to become cancer. You got to come out and say, like, here's what you're doing, bro. And then I feel better. Because if you're going to make me feel like this, then I got to feel better.
One time we were in the hallway
That's so true.
at the store, and some guy came out and he's like, I'm big fan. And I was like, thanks. And then he's like, Chris, I'm a big fan. And you went like, okay. And then he's like, hey, you guys, and you were like, oh, you're like, I'm just talking to someone, man. And he was like, oh, okay. I don't know. I find so much satisfaction in witnessing
Dude,
that.
I like, there's like, sometimes I make up rules in my head too. Like, if I were out and I saw some guy talking to a girl, I don't know the situation. It could be his wife, it could be his girlfriend, it could be a girl he's trying to impress, it could be his agent, it could be a coworker, I don't know. But my rule is, if a guy's talking to a girl, you just don't interrupt that guy, okay?
Yeah.
So if a guy ever comes up to me and I'm talking to whoever, I could be talking to you, it doesn't matter. If it's a girl, I say, I'm talking to a... I'm talking to a girl, man. And they say, no, I know. I say, but what are you doing? Because this is against the code.
It is. I had one time I used to open for Joe a lot. You know, I travel with him, and I feel like even though he's so famous now, when I look back, he felt that even though he wasn't as famous, he felt super famous whenever we would be in public.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like when we
Yes.
So like everybody, it felt like everybody even 10 years ago was like, hey,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And after shows, if we would go out or something, there would always be weird guys.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's like
he is weirdos.
Yeah, and they would be like, Joe, he'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
and then, and they would linger, and he'd be like, the fuck are you doing here? You know, like kind of like, and they would go
That's
away.
good,
I would
good.
laugh every time. And one time we went to this restaurant in San Jose after the show, and there's some weirdos, and this guy was like, hey man, he's like, what'd you say? And you know, the guy kind of said something. He was like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna eat now, so you know, get out of here or something. And the guy was like, no, but he was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And then we sat in these booths at this restaurant, and the guy jumped in the booth next to Joe.
No. See, and Joe must have sensed that on some level.
He
if that
did.
was
He sensed
coming.
it before. And then with one hand,
pushed them all out. Yeah.
he went like that. And the guy went flying out of the booth.
Wow.
Like, launched him out of the booth. And I was like,
Oh, damn, Joe Rogan.
hello, and thank you for watching that highlight. If you want to see more of those, we have them. They're provided for you. So enjoy. Just do a deep dive like you're trying to study us. Click on these and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and then they'll just be delivered to you. You can watch them when they come out. Please do it.